experienced it. The one thing you experience over the years, winning never gets old. It gets better. It just gets better.
Welcome to Baseball Biz. I'm Mark Harbinger, host, and man, I am glad you are here. You're helping me celebrate the 100th episode of Baseball Biz, and today we're going to focus on the last 4 games of the regular baseball season in 2021. Aren't you excited? I know I am. Hey, you know what we were listening to there at the very beginning? That was Mr. Tony La Russa's voice talking about winning the AL Central with his White Sox. Fantastic. The first team to win any of their division. And, I was talking a while back with Nick Morowski of Good Guys Talk Back. I think they were about 10.5 games ahead of everybody else in their division. Cleveland was about 10.5 games back. Now, with only 4 games left, Cleveland is 13.5 games back. But the White Sox were the first to clinch their division. And when they did, here's what Nick Morowski and his co-host Pat Hester had to say on the podcast, Good Guys Talk Back.
Hey, we are Central Division champions, the first time since 2008. And it feels good to feel good, my man. I mean, it's almost like it's been a foregone conclusion that this was going to happen. It just seemed like it took a little bit longer than maybe we anticipated. This 5-game Cleveland series that you had circled a month ago, as we were concerned about, ended up not being all that much of a big deal. But it's nice to be where you're at, get this thing wrapped up, and still have something to play for over the next 6 games.
Yeah, the Sox are the first team to clinch their division this year, and like you had said, it's been a long time, man. And I really, we all have that perfect way of doing it, and yes, it would have been nice if they were able to celebrate immediately after, and yeah, it would have been even nice to win Game 2, which they should have won in that doubleheader on Thursday. They had to wait for the celebration, but we saw the video, we've seen the pictures, and heard the quotes. I mean, they celebrated. They had themselves a good time, and no matter how you do it, it's a big deal, and if it wasn't a big deal, then this Sox team would have had a few other division titles. It wouldn't have been 13 years. And like we had just, mentioned before we started recording, Pat, the Cleveland would love to be in our situation. Detroit, Minnesota, but a testament to grinding it out through a lot of different injuries, guys stepping up. We went through this with Ozzie Guillen Jr. last episode. What a journey this season has been, Pat, and it feels good to be champs.
Well, Nick, that says it all, doesn't it? It feels good to be champs. And you guys were the first ones there with the White Sox. So congratulations to you guys. And, man, it has been exciting. You think, well, who's going to go ahead and clinch the divisions? Let's take a look at the National League. I mean, the first 2 teams to hit the century mark on wins for the year were the Giants and the Dodgers. Neither one of them have actually won the NL West yet. The Padres, somebody I looked at earlier in the year thought the Padres would be somebody to make a difference. They fell back hard. But the Giants and Dodgers just continue to excel. And here we are with only 4 games left, and there's only 2 games between them. The Giants have 104 wins, and the Dodgers have 102 wins. What's going to happen next? You can't lay down on any of these teams. Last night, for instance, the Dodgers were beating the Padres 11-9. But 5 of those runs came in the 8th inning. That's what I'm talking about, folks. This is exciting baseball. And then last night also, the Giants, they're playing at home. Who are they playing? The Diamondbacks. Easy pickings, right? The Diamondbacks had only had 50 wins for the year. And here they are coming across the Giants. And what do you expect? Well, there is absolutely no score from either the Diamondbacks or the Giants until the bottom of the 7th. And then there is 1. Oh, yes, the Giants put 1 on the board. And that's actually the final score. Giants 1, Diamondbacks 0. Who would have thought? But the Giants needed to keep that one. So what are they going to be doing tonight? Tonight they'll be playing the Diamondbacks again at home. Always an advantage. But I wonder if there's going to be more of a run differential than just one run. I don't know. We'll see. Will they win it? One can hope, but maybe not. Then the last 3 games of the year for the Giants, also being held at home, if you think that's an advantage, are with the mediocre Padres. Again, the Padres were a team I held out a lot of hope for with earlier this season, but that's not the case. Before we dig into the Padres, I'd definitely like to take a look again at the Giants, what they achieved, because last night, when they won their 104th game for this season, the Giants broke a record. It's the first time since 1905 that they came across that 104 victories in a season. And they still don't own the National League West yet because the Dodgers are right on their tail. I do believe it will be the Giants, and I'm happy for that. And I'm not the only one happy for that. Let's hear what the Giants catcher Buster Posey had to say.
Special. I mean, all the great teams that have come before us have been on some really good teams, and then obviously you go back to Bonds and Will Clark and Jeff Kent and Cepeda, Mays, McCovey. So to be a part of a team that's won the most games is really special.
Really special indeed. And one of the funny things about the Giants I really enjoy too is knowing that Chris Bryant, I never felt was being treated properly by the Cubbies. He was traded to the Giants. I mean, can you imagine if you were playing with the Cubs and had maybe a questionable idea of whether or not where they might be late in the season, and now you're with the Giants? Congratulations, Chris, on the trade, huh? Oh my. Well, the good news is if you're either a Dodger or a Giant, you have a place clinched into the playoffs. You just don't know if you're going to be the NL Division champs yet. So what's going on with those Dodgers that are 2 games behind the Giants? Well, they've also been playing their last 6 games at home. And let's see, okay, they're finishing up a game today with the Padres. Then our last 3 games also at home are against who? They will be facing the National League Central champs, the Milwaukee Brewers. Woof. Is there a dog in this room? And I love these guys, the Milwaukee Brewers. I mean, in many ways, if there was a team that I wanted to win the National League, it might be the Brewers. I mean, you all know that I'm a Tampa Bay fan. So I'm always interested in seeing where these guys wind up when they leave here. And amongst them, I was sad to see Willy Adames leave the Rays. But since he's been with the Brewers, he has really taken off. And I look across them and I also see the pitcher with John Curtis, a former Ray, and also was it Avisaíl Garcia. All these guys. So I have an attachment to a lot of the players that are with the Brewers. And they're just a great team to watch. A couple of years ago, the only name I would have told you if you asked me about the Brewers would be Christian Yelich. But now, with Corbin Burns and Wong and Vogelbach and Peralta, where do you want to start? Where do you want to stop? Brandon Woodruff? A heck of a team. So let's see how they advance. It's going to be fun. But it's also interesting to hear how their manager, Craig Counsell, responded immediately after winning the division. And he's kind of a subtle guy, and I'd have to say modest. I'm glad to see he gave a tip of the hat to the Cardinals. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, I mean, a ton of credit to the Cardinals right now. They're doing amazing things. It's incredible what they're doing at this point in the season. So, we gave ourselves an opportunity to get it done today. And that's because we played a great series this weekend, had a great weekend, and got it done.
Got it done is a bit of an understatement, but, as long as I'm hopscotching around from one team and division after another, and we're talking about the Brewers, but you can't help but respect and admire at the achievement of the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals, okay? While being in the same division, National League Central, with the Brewers, they didn't have much going for them. They were so far back, I don't think anybody could have thought they would be potentially clinching a wild card spot. Let's see, if you look back, let's see, it was Fangraphs, and they gave the Cardinals just a 2.8% chance to make the playoffs. That was only in September 7th, okay? We're just talking a couple of weeks ago. And now they've gone from there to clinching the National League's final wild card spot. Wow. So I guess it will be them and either the Dodgers or the Giants. Obviously, the Dodgers or Giants, one of them will be the National League West, and the other will be, I guess, facing the Cardinals. So that's a done deal. But nobody thought that the Cardinals would be here. I mean, how did they do that? I'll tell you how they did that. They won 17 games straight, consecutively. However you want to put it, 17 games in a row, and bam, you kind of move up to the top of the list. Just behind the Brewers, nonetheless, but you're at the top of the list. So congratulations, Cardinals. We look forward to seeing you in that National Wild Card game. And as long as we're talking about the National League, we have to look at the East. And right now, nobody has clinched anything. The Braves, 85 wins. They're leading it off. I mean, the Phillies are behind them with 4.5 wins. So basically, let's just say the Braves have won this one, okay? So the Braves are going to be winning the National League East. I want to do a whole lot more about the Braves, but for now, we're just going to kind of do an overview of all the teams. Maybe I can get Coach Cobb on here to talk about the Braves. I know they're his favorite team. Moving to the American League East, my Rays, they have clinched and won their division as the American League East champs. And they've done that at this point with 98 wins. They're closing in on the century mark. So 100 games, 4 games left. Strong possibility. Who are those games? Well, all 4 of them are away. They're going to finish up a series with the Astros today. And then they head off for their last 3 games to Yankee Stadium. Woof. Have I said woof too many times? Probably so. But it is an exciting team. It is a special team that has gotten here. Kevin Cash, what he has done with these young men is amazing. When the time comes out to hand out World Series rings to this team, and I do believe that's going to happen, the number of players who've come up and down in that roster, that's a lot of ring sizes to measure. So good luck, Rays. But if you're looking for a wild card, we'll come back to that moment. Looking down the American League, what we'll also see going down the list, while the Rays have clinched the American League division, the White Sox, as we talked about earlier, they have clinched their division. The American League West is still in question. The Mariners have been knocking at that door, and the Astros are just ahead of them by 3.5 games. If the Rays defeat the Astros again and the Mariners can continue to move up, they could be winning their own division there. They could beat the American League West. So who are the Mariners playing in the last few games? Well, let's see. Today, I think they're playing again against the Angels. The Mariners are approaching the finish line. They finished the game yesterday with the Athletics, and they defeated them 4-2. And now, at home, they have a final 3 games with the Angels. I'm looking forward to see how this all pulls together. It looks likely that the Astros will actually win the American League West, but the Mariners are definitely going to be in contention with the American League wild card. Let's take a little look down that list, because the American League East is kind of dominated. At the moment in the American League, here are the folks that can climb up and be part of that wild card game. The Yankees have been kind of on a tear right now. I think they've won about 7 games in a row. And they're 1 game ahead of Boston. So if we had to play today, it'd be for the American League wild card, it'd be New York and Boston. Always a fun slugfest. But right beneath Boston, just a half game back, is Seattle. And 1 game back is Toronto. So the Yankees with 90 wins, the Boston with 89, Seattle with 89, and Toronto with 88. Those are the guys that looks like have the opportunity to be in that American League wild card. I'd really like to see Toronto up in there. I mean, they've done so much. Charlie Montoya has a great team. And so many of them are so young and bring so much to it. And you look at pitchers like, say, Robbie Ray. You look at people at the bat, a guy who could be the MVP for the American League, Mr. Vlad Guerrero Jr., the only thing that would keep him from being the MVP is Shohei Ohtani, who has been doing magnificently at both the plate and the mound. And for Ohtani, it's kind of a shame he's with a team like the Angels. So Toronto has a lot going for it. We're just going to see how it goes these last few days. We'll probably put up a show every day over the next few days because we're going to find out who's clinching everything, who's going to be in the wild card, who's going to be winning each one of these divisions. So let's kind of do a summary right now. We'll go back with a summary of what's going on as far as in the National League. Right now, neither the Braves or the Phillies have clinched the National League East. It seems pretty certain that the Braves will have it. National League Central, Brewers have definitely clinched that. And right behind them in Central, the Cardinals have clinched a wild card spot. Who will they be playing that wild card? It's going to be one or two teams from National League West. It's either going to be the Giants or the Dodgers. One of them will win the National League West, and one of them will be the wild card team. If we look back at the American League East, yeah, the Rays clinched it. But then you get into that tight wild card we talked about a moment ago. You get Yankees, Red Sox, Blue Jays, Mariners. Who knows? If we look at the American League Central, yes, White Sox did it. And I would recommend you guys listen to Good Guys Talk Back podcast. I think you can find it everywhere. Pat and Nick are on there and do a great job. So they're going to have the most current and interesting news about what's going on with the White Sox. Finally, American League West. Astros, they look like they're going to go ahead and clinch it. It hasn't happened yet. After the Astros complete their series with the Tampa Bay Rays today, they're going to go ahead and continue on with a homestand, the final 6 games. And the last 3 games of the season for the Astros are going to be with the Athletics. So it looks like they probably will win the American League West. We'll see what happens. I want to thank everyone here again for joining me today here on Baseball Biz. This show, we've had to take a look at a lot of numbers because it's that time. It's that last week of the regular season. We're all excited about it. And man, it feels like we're already in playoffs, doesn't it? Well, anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing the games over the next few days and finally putting down who's going to win that National League West. Who's going to do it, boys and girls? Who's going to be there? And who's going to be clinching a spot in the wild card? Wow, what a way to celebrate our 100th Baseball Biz episode. So thank you for joining us here today. And I want to close with those special remarks that we should all keep close to our heart at this time of the season. And that's from Tony La Russa. Once again, here's Tony.
The one thing you experience over the years, winning never gets old. It gets better. It just gets better.
And remember, you can always find us Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. Oh, we're everywhere. Anyway, look forward to talking with you all again real soon. Also, you can find us on Twitter at @TheBaseballBiz. Special thanks to X-Take RUX for the music rocking forward.